The scientific consensus is that social media is more a disadvantage to parents than an advantage. Experts conclude that private electronic information leads to breakdown of a higher quality interpersonal communication, not only between the sexes, but with everyone. Both untrue gossip and unrealistic information can be moved into your path and your psyche. Many kids want only to keep up with their siblings' lives through online efforts alone. It can also expose them to serious and dangerous threats many parents admit they cannot keep up with. The family, especially through divorce and access, is suffering through this, and it appears that there is no going back. And social media is here, and we better deal with something about it. We have to handle an awful lot of people who are dealing with this issue now, and I don't know how it's going to affect the future. And Gary Jacobs, the president for Americans for Legal Reform, is here to talk about it with me. Some of the social media we're talking about are Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Wikipedia, LinkedIn, Reddit, which I never heard of, and I'm a techno nerd here, so I'm not great at this. Pinterest?
Oh, Pinterest.
Yeah. See? All right. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Anyway, all these things are ways to communicate, and there's a whole circle for which, if you get a chance, Andy, to push that up there, and you don't have to film this. You're going to get it later. You're going to get it. All right. So we have these problems now, and we didn't have them before, and I'm very much concerned about how we're going to, even through divorce or even not through divorce, communicate with our family members who are not able to. You see them, the kids together, just looking down and looking at the screens, and some parents aren't able to keep up with this. They don't know what to do about it, and they don't know what kind of information they're getting. Should we worry?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you should worry. It's, I guess it's good and bad. It's changing the society, and I'm certainly not a sociologist, so I don't really have all the information on that. But I do know how it relates to divorce cases. And I heard a statistic a few years ago that 60% of divorces, Facebook is mentioned. I think the number is probably higher now. So, I think it's very easy for people to say, when you're going to a divorce lawyer, going through a divorce, stay off social media. I think that's just ridiculous advice. And I'll tell you why. First of all, anybody who's getting through a divorce at this stage in their life, even you you self-described techno
nerd.
Well, I don't think you're a nerd because you don't really know, you're not good at it. But you're on Facebook. Well, you're on Facebook. So
Yeah.
almost everybody who's going to get divorced is on Facebook. You cannot go in now and say, okay, I'm going through a divorce, so I'm going to deactivate my Facebook account because it's already out there. So you have to think about everything that's been out there for the entire life history of your Facebook. And it's fair game. Listen, you are a fool if you don't look at your opponent's Facebook, right. LinkedIn, whatever you call it.
There's some advice you give at Pinterest.
But you should really listen, when somebody comes to me and says, hey, I'm getting divorced, my husband's this, he's that. First thing I do is I go to Facebook. And some of them go, oh, well, I didn't look at that. What are you, a fool? The first thing you do is look. That's just a treasure of information, because in Facebook, in social media, people portray themselves to something that they're not. In fact, there's a country song says where the words are, "I'm so much cooler online." Mm-hmm. People put a different persona online. They brag about
best foot forward.
Yeah, they brag about their wealth and about this. So it may not even be true, but people put these things on social media that can be used against you. So advice number one, I don't know what numbers I have, but
that's all right.
Advice number one would be, if you're thinking about getting divorced, be careful what you put on social media. Now, 50% of us are going to get divorced. So everybody, be careful what you put on social media. But I'm not against being on social media. And in fact, when I'm helping somebody, I'm advocating for them. It's kind of a necessary
evil, especially people in business.
Well, they tell somebody I'm advocating, they say, stay off social media. The lawyer said, nah, not really, because you know what? It gives you an outlet. It gives you a way to express, because when you're with your attorney, you don't normally get to do it. But be smart about it. Be smart about what you put on there. If you're going to court saying you don't have any money, don't take a vacation and put it on Facebook. It's going to, not maybe, it is going to be used against you in court. Now, I tell people in private, listen, your life's not over because you're getting divorced. I believe you're entitled to happiness, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So fuck a judge who tells me I can't go on vacation. Oops. But we got bleep. No, we got bleep button. Nobody even knows what I just said. Blank a judge who tells me I'm not entitled to have a good time because you know what? If it's a year in court, okay. I was in court for 11 years. You're telling me for 11 years, best case scenario, 10% of my life.
Your young kid has a beard
Right?
now at this
Best,
point.
Best case scenario, 10% of my life I'm in court. Way more than that, really.
Yeah, really.
But you're telling me I can't have any fun in my life for that? Come on, you're entitled, but don't put it on social media. Don't let anybody know
That's
about
what
it.
this expert says. A social network is a connection that just can't be broken. Once you start to get out there and you've made that connection,
No, there's no going back. So be
No
careful
going
what
back.
you put on, thinking about the future. If you are in a divorce, I actually say, if somebody's going up and the woman, I'll just say the woman because I'm a guy, and the woman deletes the account because her, guess what? I think that's destroying evidence. I'm going to go to court and say she destroyed evidence.
there's
Let's
something to do
subpoena
with
it,
that.
Your Honor. What did she delete on there that we could have used in court? So right away, if you're going to file against your opponent, first thing you do is you go to their social media.
So that'd be a good
and you
idea to
print
copy. Print everything out. That's what I was
before-
thinking, yeah.
Before you file. And be careful what you put. The biggest problem I see with social media that people do is they brag about spending money. They put on there that they're, going on vacation, that they got a new car, that they, how many people, well, you don't look, I forget who I'm talking to, but people put food on Facebook all the
Right.
time. I'm guilty. I get a big jumbo shrimp. I'm taking a picture of it, putting it on Facebook. But don't put that you're at Peter Luger's having a nice dinner when
Your
you're going,
third martini or
when you're
something.
going through a divorce, because the judges are going to say, how dare you do that? If you have money to go to Ruth's Chris or Peter Luger's, you certainly have money to pay your spouse more money.
You're in the position now. You're talking about the husband and the wife with children. We want to include the children now. So if you're going to include the children, and it distracts them from the real world and their real problems, they're using this. It's like an addiction. They're using it to pull themselves away. So how do we deal with that part of the divorce?
I'm not good at that part because again, I don't have the experience in that. I have more experience in the divorce. I think for the kids, it's good to be on social media, honestly, because they have a way to vent. It's hard sometimes to talk about the divorce that they're going through. And you know what? Maybe a kid putting on social media, you know what? It sucks that my parents are getting divorced. It sucks that I have to go to court again and test this really, I love my mom. It's an outlet for the kids.
I took these notes from a sociologist, and she was basically against most of it because some of the reasons are it's an outlet for people to leave the real world.
Right.
I mean, they can use it to outlet,
But
get
the only
out.
thing is you could be-
If their parents are fighting and they're using the social media to get out of the real world, that's not good
But
necessarily.
the only thing
either.
is we're not going to change it. Like by a sociologist saying
That's
it's
why
not
I
good.
said at the end
Who
of the
cares? It's not
closing,
good. All right, it's
it is
not
what
good.
it is.
It is what it is. It's out there. So I think let's make the best of it. And I think parents
But
should
it's
look at
breaking the child's ability to concentrate on some of the other things she said. Constant online
listen,
communication
I'm
affects
on
children,
Facebook all the
making
time,
it
too.
difficult for them to communicate and concentrate when they're away from the screen. So in other words, they're on the screen too much, making it difficult for them to communicate face to face.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Monitoring the children's online social interactions. Most of this sociologist, her topic was social media and its impact on families. So she went through the litany of all the things that were basically more on the wrong side for children. She didn't really spend that much time on.
I mean,
what you're focusing,
right?
yeah.
More focus. I get it all the time. Is
So let me try and stay with you on this part, all right?
Yeah, well, only because I don't have experience
That's
in
okay.
the other in the other part. And, I have a
maybe
lot
this-
of experience.
maybe this will add. Well, I
have a lot of
I
experience.
mean, in divorce, we're
courts.
worried about the kids. We're worried about how they handle the social media, and maybe some of this stuff is an advantage or disadvantage. And you've said about some of these things.
But an advantage, Chris, is what happens when somebody's alienated. I'll go the other way so I don't get yelled at and we don't get hate mail this time. The mother is alienated from their children, but she can go on Facebook and basically speak directly to their children on Facebook because they're all on social media. So she can write on Facebook to my kids, I love you.
It's a good outlet. I
Well,
can
it's a good way to
appreciate that.
communicate. So it is good in that.
I know somebody just went through that. I had a long conversation with her about that, and she says it's not good enough to do it that way because this is something she had to acquire. Right. So she doesn't know the full impact of how to even do it.
Right. But it's a way to be able to communicate and let them be a part of your lives. You can go the other way and they could say, a lot of times when the person is alienated, let's say the mom is alienated, but the child still feels a connection because they see the mother on Facebook. Maybe if they didn't, they would say, I want to talk to them. So you can go either way, but certainly if you're an alienated parent, you should use Facebook to your advantage by telling your child, because believe me, any alienated child is going to look up their parent on social media. And we just had a case with ALR that we helped a man, I won't say his name.
She pretty much should do that.
Yeah, but his son told him, Dad, I'm really, I saw you on some of those shows that you did.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that you were fighting for me. Now, he was careful when he did the shows. And I told him when he came on the show, do not speak badly about your ex. There's ways to do it. He said, it's unfortunate that there's a high conflict divorce. Don't speak badly about her.
The law put me in this place is what I always say.
you
And
know-
by the way, it is often the fact that sometimes the law,
I think always, 100%.
Yeah,
Because
right.
you know what? The mother or the father can want to do it. The judges allow it. Or I say encourage it a lot of times. If the judge, I'm not standing for that. If you're going to do this, it's going to stop. I'm going to fine you. you're going to lose custody. Then it would stop. But the judges don't stop it. So I believe the judge, people are always mad when they're going through a divorce. They try it.
What we've witnessed in terms of trust is an issue for the children in the family. Sometimes they hear and see only, and they acquire only what was written out of the text or the email or the Facebook entry.
Facebook posting.
Then, as you say, some of the trust elements can go away. What does that cause for them on the negative side of it? I know you're pretty much.
Yeah, well, it's a problem. Listen, you have to be careful what you put. When there's kids involved, you have to be careful. Obviously, they're going to read it. I just read a post from a woman the other day who was talking about her husband cheating on her and put pictures that somebody sent her of her husband.
I was just going to say there's a loss of
That's
privacy
freaking
issue,
hard.
too.
I mean, can you imagine the kids?
Oh, no,
Not
yeah.
only is the kid upset that they're seeing that their father was cheating on the mother, it's stuck in their face, but they're humiliated because all their friends are going to see it.
That's right.
Why would you put that on Facebook?
Right.
I mean, that's horrible to do to your kids. This is adult stuff that kids should not be involved in.
There could be a reason why you're divorced if you do that kind of thing.
So, yeah, I just think, so you have to be smart. You have to be smart about it.
She says that at this point there's no way for individuals to live life normally. When she says normally, she's really referring to how things were.
I was going to say, this is the new norm.
Well, right. It's been taken,
And listen, Facebook's
and
going to be in court.
She's saying it's been taken over. That's right. It's gonna be in
Anybody who's
court. That's
going,
right.
anybody who is going through a divorce now,
heard
who's
about
in their
that.
30s, Facebook or social media, Twitter, whatever, is going to be, it's going to be in court. They're
part
gonna
of your case.
It's going to be part of your case. So, but you can use it strategically, Chris.
I heard Zuckerberg say that on the air. We are now addressing things that we didn't contemplate when we ran
Right.
with it in the beginning.
Right. Yeah. And I tell people, listen, you can use it to your advantage. I can just, from personal experience, I can give you an example. My ex-wife was a pathological liar and a sociopath, all these things. But I had to I wanted people to realize that because she was very, very convincing. So I just needed more stuff. So what I would do is I would put on my Facebook page, I traveled for business to Las Vegas every year. So this time when I went to Las Vegas, my girlfriend came with me. And we took pictures of us by the pool in front of the sign. We didn't mention work. Now, I knew that my ex-wife was going on my Facebook page, even though I wasn't friends with her. She went through a friend of a friend. I knew that because
Yeah.
I'm going on her page to get evidence.
Yeah.
So I put on my Facebook that I'm in Vegas. Now, I know it looks like I'm on vacation
Sure.
in Las Vegas, but before I
That's the feeling you get.
posted it, I made sure I had a copy of my plane ticket that my boss had purchased for me with the company. I have my name badge from the show showing the date of the show I was at. I had even taken pictures of me.
You're getting ready for a case.
I get into court, sure as shit, because she's predictable. I get to court and she says, the little lawyer says, Your Honor, this man is going on vacation with his girlfriends in Las Vegas. Now, they didn't want to give up their source that it was Facebook because she didn't want to have it ruined. She thought she was ahead of me. My lawyer, we planned it.
But I missed that. Why wouldn't you want to do
Well,
that?
she didn't want to know because then she thinks I would block her and she would never get to see it. And I would stop putting it on there. So I told my lawyer when she brings us up in court, just act like you're shocked. How dare Mr. Jacobs go on vacation and take a break? So the lawyer brings it up and says, he's on vacation in Vegas. And my lawyer's like looking at me like, how could you do that? It's all a setup. He says, can we take a break, Your Honor, so I can talk to my client? We walk out, I high-five him. I said, go back in there. And I goes, Your Honor, with all due respect, she's making up this story to make him look bad. She knows darn well every year he was in Vegas on a business trip. Here's pictures of his badge. I had it all with me.
Yeah.
And now she looks like she
You got
caught.
ready for the case. You knew it was going
Right.
to happen.
So I used it. Now the judge looks at it and
Entrapment.
says, this woman's a liar, right? She's a liar. She's making up all these stories. She knew he was there on business. It sort of backfired on her. So you can do it. Another thing, I don't know how much time we have because I sort of want to.
I think we have about 5 minutes.
Okay, I wanted to use this for the end. Some very good advice that I got. I'd like to pass on to the viewers because we're hearing the social media could be good, could be bad. Here's some great advice that I got. When my divorce was over, well, it wasn't really over. I was hoping it was over, but basically it was settled. And of course, I was going through some depression because my kids were alienated against me. And the psychiatrist said to me, Gary, can I give you some advice? And I said, sure, because I was depressed. And she saw it, and she knew what I was up against with my ex-wife. She said, you're on Facebook a lot, because it came up in the case. Only put good stuff on Facebook. I was posting about how it sucked losing my kids. She said, I only want you to post good things on Facebook, because the one thing that's going to get your wife, there's two things. Number one is if you make money, because all she cares about is money. And number two, she wanted to make you be destroyed so you're not happy. So even though you're actually not happy and you're broke as can be, don't put that on Facebook. Put that you've moved on with your life and that you're happy, and just come up with that persona. That'll be a good way to get back at her. And I put it on there even though it wasn't true. I was going through a depression and I was broke, and I'm putting on Facebook, hey, I'm on vacation, I'm on my boat, I'm with my girlfriend who's better looking than my ex-wife, and I'm doing all these things that I know is gonna piss off my wife. And I saw this psychiatrist a year or so later, and she said, how you doing? I said, you know what, I'm learning to cope, I'm moving on. And she said, you know what, because the Facebook thing, I knew if you would put on there, project that you were happy, you would become happy. Because you put on that happy face, and it wasn't real at the beginning, but it became real, and that became your personality.
This is your psychologist?
A psychiatrist, not my psychiatrist, just one that I had met going through the system. And she was so right. It made that my personality. I didn't even realize
become what you were doing.
I didn't realize what I was doing. Just like they always tell people, smile, smile. It's hard to be angry when you're smiling, right? It's hard to be like, hey, and the back of your mind, it's hard to do that fake. So this is sort of our way in this day and age to project it and then become it. So my advice, if you're doing it, only put the good stuff on Facebook, because you will become good. If we all know people on Facebook.
Should you give advice that being honest is important?
No,
no, okay.
Not on Facebook.
Not on Facebook.
It's not a place to be honest. Listen, you're not under oath. Dating's a big issue on Facebook. I laugh. People put on, before their divorce is over, people, listen. You could be single for a year, but you're young. People want to start dating before the divorce, and I don't blame them. Listen, it takes many years, and the way people date now is a lot of people do go online.
Online, you catch
It's a problem to be online on a dating service when you're still legally married and going through a divorce. Right. Number one, the judge looks at you like, you can't wait till it's over. Really? You're
it's
committing
a sign for
adultery.
Something else. They think it's a sign of something
else. Plus, what do you put on your profile? You don't put broke divorced man who's losing their house, losing their kids, and on a third failed marriage.
And the judge hates me.
And you don't put that. You put on there, loves the outdoors, loves this, loves going to fancy restaurants. How do you think that makes you look in divorce court?
This is a very serious issue. We all need to pay attention to it. But I believe that the children are going to suffer more than we know. Mm-hmm. I think the future will tell us a lot. But the sociologist that wrote this paper I have in front of me was basically somewhat negative about the entire picture, because it's a sign of the future of the lack of ability to do face-to-face communication. That's something I think that might tell foreboding down the road. We don't know.
Again, I don't know, but maybe we don't need as much face-to-face communication anymore. One of the good things is I'm friends with the people from high school, from college, that I normally won't see, and I still feel connected in their lives, even though I don't see them all the time.
That's an addition too.
So that's a positive thing.
Yeah, but that's an addition too. You found a positive outlet out of that. Right. However, the relationship that you have with your family through divorce, right. I'm not sure where yours is at right at the moment, right. But you might be tempting fate here, not knowing.
But on the other side, I think that my kids look at my Facebook page, and maybe that's some way of them keeping some connection to me.
That's what I think is a positive thing. I think it is. What else do they have?
Well, except for maybe they feel that because they have that connection, they haven't totally abandoned me. So it's okay that they don't talk to me.
Yeah, that's a bad part of it. It could be a negative thing.
I don't know. Maybe.
So look at this. I mean,
part of me says,
how does anybody know, knowing the two sides of the coin we just presented?
Part of me says if they had no way of seeing what I'm up to in my life and that I'm healthy and I'm alive, a little bit fat, but and balder. But if they had no way of seeing that, they would be curious and they would miss me more. Maybe they don't miss me as much because they see me on social media.
I think ultimately it's for you, especially now at this point when you don't have a lot of contact with them, that it's probably more
zero contact.
Zero. All right.
So maybe it's better for me.
More valuable to you than possibly negative.
I don't know.
How does that sound?
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
But something to consider. So. Mind everybody who's involved in social media, when your kids are through divorce, contemplate these realities we just gave you today. And thank you very much, Gary Jacobs.
Thanks for having me.
Societal and political trends are rapidly breaking down the family that once was the cornerstone of our great American culture. And at FIT, we know you cannot get this information on your own, so we'll bring it to your TV every single week. We invite all opposing views. My name is Chris DiMaggio. Thank you for watching FIT TV, and we'll see you again.